Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're having a good Tuesday thus far. It's Nicky Stees here, and as you can tell by the title, this will be my last NFL 2023 mock draft before the real draft on Thursday. Now, for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it from the PFF website. I'm going to do several run-throughs, and this time around, trades will be allowed. If you've seen some of my previous mock drafts, I didn't do trades in that, but this time around, there will be trades, which I will be doing. But before I get there, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the other news in the football world. First, we're going to start with the big news yesterday. It's official now. Aaron Rodgers is officially a New York Jet. We were waiting for it to go through. The Rodgers and Jets was all but confirmed. And this was obviously the longest wait for a pick to finally be confirmed, but it happened. Now we can finally talk about it. So get that out the way first. So yes, again, just like last time, the star quarterback, face of the franchise for the Green Bay Packers that won him a Super Bowl is off to the New York Jets. If you're a Jets fan, if you catch this, obviously you're hoping this time it goes better than last time, right? You signed him to a 3-year deal. You only got 1 year out of it. He was cut, retired, came back to the Vikings. If you're the Jets, you're hoping this one's going to be different. And now in return for this, from this deal, you got the Jets are getting Rodgers, the 15th pick, the 170th pick. Packers received 13th, 42nd, 207, and next year, conditional second-round pick. That can become a first if Rodgers plays at least 65% of the snaps. That's what's in this right here. Now, I think personally it would have been better off. It would have been a bigger deal if this trade had happened last year. I feel like the Packers could have gotten more for it because Rodgers was fresh off an MVP season last offseason. So I feel like if they would have pulled the trigger then and decided to turn the keys over to Jordan Love in 2022, they could have gotten more for it in return, possibly. And you could have got a good deal. I mean, the Jets could have maybe been a team. Maybe the Dolphins. I'm surprised the Dolphins. That's another team that it just occurred to me that the Dolphins were a team that could have been in consideration. Now that I think about it, it was like, yeah, especially if they didn't have faith in Tua. I think that would have been a better fit for Rodgers, but obviously the Dolphins weren't in on this. Rodgers was keen on going to the Jets, and that's what happened. But I feel like the Packers could have gotten more in return. There would have been teams willing to give them a bunch of futures if this were a year ago when Rodgers was fresh off another MVP season. But after 2022, now don't get me wrong, it's still a big deal. Jets were obviously still interested, and they feel like they're trending more in an upward direction. So they feel more comfortable taking this risk than some other teams would. Now, I'll get into that part about what this risk means in a second and what I think it means. But nevertheless, yes, they made the deal. Went through Jets Packers. Obviously, they were waiting for Packers were waiting for something. They felt like they finally got the package to accept the trade, and they accepted it. Because for the Jets, it was like, yeah, Zach Wilson, obviously was an underachiever, and his attitude, well, he showed signs of immaturity. Didn't exactly do himself any favors with the Jets. So the Jets weren't exactly in a hurry to try to help with Zach Wilson. So they decided to want to take their chance on Rodgers and see what comes out of it. Now, with that being said, though, this could be a similar situation to the Russell Wilson trade last year with the Broncos. In some ways, it feels like it could be similar, and here's where they compare. Remember, Wilson got traded from the Seahawks to the Broncos last year. He was coming off a down year in Seattle in 2021 with injuries and then him falling apart later in the season. But the Broncos felt like, okay, he'll have an offseason to fully recover. He'll be back. He should be able to return to full form. But obviously that didn't happen. Russell Wilson took a massive dip. I mean, a massive, just out of nowhere decline. I mean, even some of these other star quarterbacks throughout NFL history that showed signs of decline, I don't think they declined that fast that I can recall. But the long story short is, remember, the Broncos went all in for a veteran QB that was showing signs of decline his final year with his original team, and, well, it looked even worse. Now, you got to wonder with that, I mean, you saw Rodgers show some signs of decline in 2022. You can't help but wonder, is the same thing possibly going to happen with the Jets? Are you going to possibly see further signs of decline? Or are you going to see a similar type of performance from Rodgers that you saw last year with the Packers, where maybe the Jets only get 8 to 9 wins? There is a chance that could happen, possibly. Now, you're wondering, and for the Jets, they got to compete in that division with the Bills. I mean, if Rodgers plays similar to the way he did his final season with the Packers, where he made some nice throws here and there, but he also missed some throws, and there were moments that you thought, okay, maybe it's time for Rodgers to move on. If he plays similar to that, this could blow up in the Jets' face figuratively if you only get 8 to 9 wins, because then you got to compete against Buffalo. And if Miami Dolphins can actually stay healthy, maybe they'll actually perform better than last year. Actually finish strong, maybe. And then if you're Jets, you could also be talking like 8 wins, maybe third place if both the Bills and Dolphins live up to their potential and are fully healthy. So this could actually work against the Jets, possibly. Now, obviously, we haven't seen them step on the field yet, so we don't know what's going to happen. But I'm thinking, this sounds like a big upgrade on paper, but then again, after the last year Rodgers had, maybe this might not be the best thing in the world for him. Might be about, like I said. But we'll ultimately see what happens. But let's move on. And there's one more thing I'm going to talk about before I get into the mock draft. But since you guys are here for the mock draft, I'll just get through this part quickly. So Matt Patricia is officially a part of the Eagles coaching staff. And as you can tell by the picture on the screen at the bottom in the middle, I have Matt Patricia on the left, Dariusslay on the right. Obviously, that's the big story about Matt Patricia coming in as a defensive assistant for the Eagles. They're going to have him and Dariusslay in the same locker room. You guys know there's some history between them in Detroit. Dariusslay left after the 2019 season to come to the Eagles during the 2020 offseason when Patricia was still the Lions head coach. And he had no problem going on air on ESPN on First Take, issuing his grievances with Matt Patricia. We know there was one particular incident he talked about that occurred during after a practice during a film session where, if you guys haven't looked up the story, look, I'm not going to repeat it on YouTube because YouTube's current algorithm don't really allow me to talk about what was said in that room, but It was some, but if you guys can look it up yourselves, or you can look up the interview from Undisputed where Dariusslay talked about that situation, where Matt Patricia pulled up an Instagram post of him shouting out a teammate for doing a good job and made an explicit gesture about it. And that didn't set the tone well for them working together. But now for Matt Patricia, now I'm going to start off with Matt Patricia. Obviously, his tenure as a head coach with the Lions was terrible. He shouldn't be a head coach. He's not going to be here, thankfully. And number two, Matt Patricia, during his days with defense with the Patriots, it was kind of an up and down slope. Like, yeah, a few years that Patriots defense was doing pretty solid. But then once he got to that 2017 season, remember that Patriots defense in 2017 was not a good defense. And it's, it was Brady in the offense that carried the load for him that year. And then you guys remember Super Bowl 52 was a shootout. And now maybe this is the Eagles' way of thanking Matt Patricia for helping them win that Super Bowl. But in all seriousness, note, Patricia as a defensive coordinator was up and down. So maybe you could get some good from him, but at the same time, maybe, I don't know. But he's a defensive assistant, so his role won't be as significant. But the big story there is with him and Dariusslay now being in the same room. Now, we're supposedly Sirianni talked with Slay about it, and they've agreed to try to make this work. And hopefully it will work out for all parties involved. But then again, knowing that history, it might get a little hostile in that locker room, or there might be some tension there between them. And if there is some tension, then somebody might have to go. Eagles might have to choose either keeping Dariusslay on the roster or keeping Matt Patricia employed with the Eagles. Now, hopefully that won't happen, but knowing the history there, it is a bit of a risk. So hopefully the talk between Sirianni and Slay worked out. I'm pretty sure by now they sat Slay and Patricia down in the same room to have a discussion, which I'm sure hopefully was one of the main things they did, but we'll ultimately have to see how that works out. It's a lesser role for Patricia, so it's not that huge of a deal, the role itself. It's more so worried that whether or not Patricia and Slay can coexist for an entire season or 2 seasons or whatever the case may be. But enough with that. Let's move on to the main event, if you will. This is what this stream is mainly about. You guys came here to see the final mock draft. Now, I'll do it through PFF. Now, obviously, PFF did make a change back in February where pretty much now you can only do 3 rounds total unless you subscribe to it. I haven't subscribed yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do several run-throughs. I'm going to have to go in and go out. And I'm going to share the screen with you guys in a second. I'll do first one. I'm going to do the first time around. I'm going to do a full first round run-through. A whole first round run-through, sharing the screen, doing all the picks, all 31 picks. Because remember, the Dolphins forfeited their picks. So there's only going to be 31 in the first round. Then after that, I'm going to do is exit out of it, refresh the browser on PFF, and then do a full Eagles 3-round mock draft. So we're going to get to that. I'm going to put the speed on slow so we can take our time, have some fun with this. And remember, it's a mock draft. But at the same time, I want to make this final one a little bit more realistic than the previous ones. Because the previous ones, I mixed some realism with some goofing around a little bit, just picking stuff for fun. But this time around, I'm going to try to make it as realistic as possible. With that being said, I'm going to share the screen. Let's get this realistic mock draft underway. Okay, so for this first one, I'm selecting all. 1 round. Let's begin. All right, here we go. Panthers are on the clock. Let me see. I'm just curious. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's just taking me back to the original screen. All right, let's get started, shall we? All right, Carolina Panthers are on the clock. Now, it's an interesting decision. Who do they take? Bryce Young from Alabama? Well, obviously, C.J. Stroud or Will Levis. Those are the mainly between Stroud and Young. are the main two choices, obviously, because they don't trade up from 9 to 1 just to get a wide receiver or that. But realistically, I think there might go Bryce Young, so we'll do it. Enter Bryce Young to the Panthers on to pick number 2. Houston Texans are on the clock. They need a whole lot. We'll say the Texans go CJ Stroud, Ohio State. Obviously, they need a quarterback. Now, this is where it gets interesting. The Cardinals. You're right. And the Cardinals are going to, what's the Cardinals take Jalen Carter, Georgia to help boost their defensive line. That is a possibility, somewhere they might go. And now we got the Colts are on the clock. I think realistically it makes sense. If you're the Colts, they stay put at 4. Most likely they'll probably have to settle on Will Levis. I think that's the realistic option. Now the Seahawks, let me see. Because like I said, there is possible trades. And I do think the Seahawks might trade back. What else? It says this trade is lopsided. Your team owner will veto it. I don't think that's much of a lopsided trade at all. That's not a lopsided trade at all. That's just too. Are you serious, dude? Come on. You have to subscribe just to do a trade. This is ridiculous. This is a joke. This really is, man. Oh, a second. So I'm going to stop shit. Let me see if I can subscribe for free. I'm going to try to sub to for free real quickly. And that's why I stopped sharing the screen. I stopped sharing so I could sub for free. Let me see. Hold on. All right, you know what? I'm going to start. Let me reshare the screen. This is such a shame. They want to charge this stupid prices for this crap right here. Excuse my rant, but let's get back to it. All right, all right, let's go here. Draft a player. Seahawks. If the Seahawks do, I think the Seahawks. Oh, they want me to subscribe and pay whatever for it. That's so stupid. You know it is. I apologize for the rant, but all right. Apparently, I guess they won't be trading. But don't be shocked. I realistically expect the Seahawks to trade back. I do. I could see the Seahawks trading back for a team that needs it more. Like maybe the Bears might trade up with the Seahawks. Maybe the Seahawks trade down the 9. Maybe the Bears trade up to 5. Maybe the Falcons could trade up. Those are some possible options right there that could trade up. Or maybe the Broncos try to get that. Never mind. Or maybe, yeah, I could see the trade though. Possibly. Let's see. Seahawks. Let's go tackle Peter Skorniski from Northwestern. All right, now the Lions are on the clock. They definitely, they do need some help on defense though, and they do need a tight end. So I'm going to do it that way. So they go Dalton Kincaid from Utah or Cully Cansey from Pittsburgh. I'm thinking the Lions are going to focus more on the D line in this one. Now the Raiders, this is interesting. And they brought in Jimmy G, but at the same time, is that let's see, Raiders. They're probably not going to go quarterback, even though they should, but I don't think they're going to. I think they'll do some crazy. I'll say the Raiders, maybe they'll go Devin Witherspoon. Now, the Falcons. Maybe the Falcons might just decide, you know what? Let's go for Anthony Richardson. He's got a higher ceiling than Desmond Ridder. Let's go for it. Maybe they just take a chance, say, let's go for it. He's got the higher ceiling. Possibility. And then you got the Bears. Bears also do need some help on the offense, too, though. I do. That's their main thing. I think personally, if you're looking to help Justin Fields out, you got to give him some protection or some receivers or something on the offensive side. Say they go Paris Johnson Jr., Ohio State. Now, obviously, I'm going to have an invested interest in this pick right here, of course. This is my team. Now, let's face it. Now, you already lost Jalen Carter. He's off the board. Adam, go to the Cardinals. Now, do you go Bijan Robinson? If Jalen Carter's off the board, do you go Jackson Smith? Where do you go? And all right, we'll go Bijan Robinson here. Some of you might like that, some of you might not, but all right, that's the way I'm going to do it here. Now, Titans are on the board. Titans, they obviously need help on offense for sure. You go Jackson Smith goes the Titans. Now the Texans again. All right, I think here you got your quarterback. You need a wide receiver. You know Brandon Cooks is gone. You need receiver, tight end, something. Something on offense at this point. Really, the Texans need help everywhere, but for the Texans, maybe they could, I think realistically, they could trade in the second round or something, or they could trade in get an extra first or something, maybe get a wide receiver. Although I could realistically see the Texans maybe waiting, trading up maybe for Jordan Adenson, possibly, or Quentin Johnson. That's another possibility too. Maybe they go on the defensive side here. They go Will Anderson, Alabama, then come back maybe. Now for the Packers, I think big thing you got to do, you definitely got to get Jordan Love a weapon for sure. So you may give him a tight end. Now the Patriots, this is going to be an interesting one. I think now the Patriots, this could be interesting. Where do they go here? Nolan Smith. And then you got the Jets, which swapped with the Packers. Maybe you bring in some help. Maybe Broderick Jones from Georgia at tackle, or maybe you go wide receiver. You definitely need to make sure you got Rodgers some weapons, but you already have a solid option in Garrett Wilson there. Who else do the Jets have? I'm about to cheat for a second and look at their roster. Who do they have? Well, they have Alan Lazard now, Garrett Wilson, Mikael Hardman, Corey Davis. Not the best, and that's all right. But maybe they might try to go for a receiver to keep Rodgers happy, or maybe they go for give him some protection, maybe invest in tackle. Go Broderick Jones on this one. Now Washington, this is gonna be interesting. I think they're at least gonna give Sam Howell a chance. I don't think QB is a realistic option. Maybe a guard or center is another option. They have some solid weapons, though. The one problem, though, they really have is they don't have that true quarterback that could actually make them a contender. That's really the big thing they're missing offensively, if anything. So I don't know. Maybe Try to get a linebacker or something. Maybe try to invest on defense a little bit. So Joey Porter Jr. Although, let's see. Then Christian Gonzalez can go to Pittsburgh. 8 Lions are back on the clock again. They have bolstered the secondary a little bit. Maybe they go for another edge here, maybe. Or maybe they go Michael Mayer, Notre Dame. Tampa Bay, Atlanta, let's see. Tampa Bay, they need just about anything at this point. That team's falling apart. Just at that, they might be in a position where maybe they try to trade up too. I'm thinking the Bucks might try to trade up, but then again, also it's possible that maybe they try to trade up for an Anthony Richardson. Maybe that's where Tampa Bay ends up going. And the Seahawks now. They need an edge. Well, they have gotten younger defensively. Maybe. Oh, Seahawks could probably trade back. Well, Seahawks, they could probably realistically they could trade up later. Maybe they go for Jordan Adenson. Maybe give him another weapon for Geno Smith to work with. He could maybe blend in with those guys. Possibly now the Chargers. They definitely need. They could use receiver too. That's another realistic option. I do need some help on the second. Maybe Deontay Banks. They take the Ravens. I could see them also going for receiver, try to give Lamar Jackson more weapons. I'm thinking that's where the Ravens probably go. Try to give him some weapons to work with. So they might go Quentin Johnson. Vikings, they do need some help on the defensive side. And now the Jaguars, yep, they also need to bolster up the defense a little bit. And their offense is pretty solid. They do need to bolster up that defense a little bit. They could go a guard, but I think they need defense as a bigger need. Give it a second. Just slow down. It's all right. All right, slow down for a sec. The Cowboys, I don't know if they're going to go running back first round. Maybe second round. Maybe they do invest on. Well, maybe they do go on the defensive side a little bit. And Jamar Gibbs, there's a guy that might go second round. Cowboys, where do I see them maybe going? Then again, maybe they take a tackle. I mean, see the Bills. The Bills, I do think they need some help defensively for sure. They do need to get a little bit stronger there. Maybe they do. Maybe they go edge, or maybe they go either edge or linebacker or something. Try to bolster up that defense a little bit because the Bills definitely need some help there. And let's see, we got 28 Bengals. Let's see. Bengals, maybe you go. Well, they still need some help on the line. I'm thinking maybe they go a guard here. Osiris Torrance, because they still offensive line hasn't been the greatest strength of the Bengals. Even in recent years, they do need to work on that if they really want to contend. So, yep. Well, Saints need a lot of help. Pretty much just take something. Take a guard, tackle, defensive back, wide receiver. Just take whatever, dude. Now the Eagles. Now we already went with Bijan Robinson. Now where do we go? I'm thinking at this point, if you're in this position, if you're the Eagles, you go on the defensive side. Try getting Tyree Wilson. And then last but not least, Kansas City. Zay Flowers. That'd be a great starting place for him with Mahomes. Okay, now let's take a look. So I'll get you guys take a look. The first round mock draft right there. Need Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Jalen Carter, Will Levis, Peter Skorniski, Caleb Cansey, Devin Witherspoon, Anthony Richardson, Paris Johnson Jr., Bijan Robinson, Jackson Smith, Bill Anderson, Dalton Kincaid, Nolan Smith, Broderick Jones, Joey Porter Jr., Christian Gonzalez, Michael Mayer, Brian Breach, Jordan Adenson, Deontay Banks, Quentin Johnson, Miles Murphy, Emmanuel Forbes, Anton Harrison, Darnell Wright, Lucas Van Ness, Osiris Torrance, DeJuan Jones, Tyree Wilson with the Eagles, and last but not least, Zay Flowers to Kansas City. All right, and because of the way this whole new thing set up with the whole subscription thing, what I can do at best, pretty much, I'm going to have to refresh my browser. And what I'm going to do when I refresh my browser, I'm going to do an Eagles only. So I'm going to do 3 rounds just with the Eagles. And because I'm refreshing it, that's the reason I stopped sharing the screen. And now I'm going to, all right, now I got it back up. Going to reshare it. We got EC1 coming in right now. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you're having a great day. You just missed it. I did my first one. And during that first one, I drafted Bijan Robinson with the 10th pick. Now, second time around. This time around, I'm just going to do the Eagles in 3 rounds. That's it. Just the Eagles, 3 rounds. Let's see. QBs first. Jalen Carter. Yep. Bijan Robinson's off the board. Where do we go now? All right. He's off the board. You got receiver. Go guard. All right. Receiver. All right. Let's look at the deep. I'm going to call an audible here. Go Nolan Smith. Or Kalen Cansey. Let's see. Going to call an audible here. Yep, we're calling audible. Go and focus on the line. Let's go Nolan Smith, Georgia. Looks on the line in the linebacker core. We got Joey Porter to the Bucks, Quentin Johnson to the Vikings. And all right, number 30 now. Let's see, most of our secondary is pretty solid, though we do need some help at receiver. Now, for my first mock draft, where I did all 31 picks in the first round, I had Zay Flowers going to Kansas City, but here he is now. He's still on the board. Let's go. Zay Flowers to the Eagles. That'd be a good starting place for him. He's got Hurts throwing him the ball. That'll help us out with depth and receiver. Just a depth piece. Now, we do need another running back, I feel. Because even with Rashad Penny, the only downside is he does have injury history. There is the risk of that happening again. I do feel we should at least try to get a running back. At least have someone there. Let's see who's available. I don't know if this is going to, then again, running back might not be. Isn't exactly the most promising running back room in the world. You can see, not exactly the most. Side, and let's take the top running back on the board, Devin Anchin, Texas A&M. All right, got one more pick. All right, we got ourselves receiver, D line. Maybe we get another piece on the. Let's see who the top prospects are. We already got ourselves a running back. Don't really need a tight end right now. Okay, we already got ourselves that receiver piece. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we ended up trading this pick back come Thursday. See, should I go line or? All right, I'll put the filter in for offensive line and for D line. I'll put that filter in. Take a look at the board. Tyler Steen, Alabama. Blake Freeland, BYU. Zach Pickens, South Carolina. Irvon Dexter Sr., Florida. Byron Young, Alabama. All right, let's try going with an offensive lineman. It's for depth piece. I mean, most of our draft picks are going to be depth pieces. I wouldn't be surprised if come Thursday we end up trading back anyway. But yeah, that's how we're doing right there. You guys can comment. Let me know what you think of that. Nolan Smith, Zay Flowers, Davon Aitchen, Tyler Steen. And here's the full board if you guys want to see what that looks like. Oh, wait, that was wait, never mind. Wait, that's what it looks like the first round if you guys are curious. All right, and obviously, all right. All right, how about we give this one more go? Give this one more go. Let's see how this turns out. This will be the last one right here. So this will be my final mock draft right here for the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll see what has so this goes right there. All right, we'll do 3 rounds again. And I'm going to share the screen. We got one. This will be the final mock draft right here. Whatever happens here is going to happen here. We'll see how it plays out. And then we'll have to wait till Thursday for the real deal. Now, let's go. All right, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud. Oh, whoa, Colts didn't take a quarterback. Sean Robinson. Very well, Jackson Smith. Oh, holy smokes. My gosh, there. All right, let's just change it up. Let's go Caleb Cansey. Oh, Nolan Smith, Christian Gonzalez, Jordan Adenson to the Seahawks. That could be a good fit. All right. We do need a depth piece right there. Quentin Johnson or Zay Flowers. Or maybe go Jamar Gibbs. Let's change it up this time and go running back 30th. I mean, that's a different possibility. You could go, obviously. It's a good idea to try different possibilities, compare and contrast them a little bit, and decide after that, okay, maybe this is the way we should go, or oh, no, we shouldn't go that route. It's good to give us the time to compare and contrast. Now, 62. All right, we got 2 more picks left. Let's do this. All right, let's see. We do. All right, we went. Yeah, we went on the defensive line. Now we can try to go wide receiver or offensive line. Wide receiver, offensive line. Put the filters. Thinking about wide receiver, but I passed. Rashee Rice, SMU, or Matthew Bergeron. Let's go Rashee Rice, depth piece. Then we'll come back and get a tackle for the final pick. All right, last pick of this mock draft. Last mock draft pick for 2023. Let's do it. So the last one. All right, we did. Now we're going to narrow it down. Now we're going to go. No, we're going to narrow. Oh, wait. Scratch that. We're going to go narrow it down to the line. Narrow it down. Let's just try it. Nick Saldiveri. Is it really worth it? Oh, nope. I ain't touching that button. Oh, no. Blake Freeland. Where do we? Now, let's just, all right, just whatever. We'll try. Whatever. See what happens. All right, that's that. All right, that's it. That is the final mock draft I'll be doing. It's the final mock draft stream before the draft on Thursday. We will ultimately see Thursday how everything goes, what ends up coming of this mock draft. All right, I will share. So I'm going to be sharing those on Twitter, and I'll be sharing those on the community tab for people that didn't get to see the stream, so they can look at it and rate for themselves. So yeah, and that's pretty much it. So for everyone that came through, thanks for coming through. Whether you watched it live or you caught it afterward, thanks for coming through. If you've seen both my mock drafts for the Eagles, or if you've seen all three mock drafts, the one with all teams, and then the two with just the Eagles, if you guys want to comment, let me know which ones you liked, what you didn't like about them. Feel free to do so. And please drop a like if you haven't done so already, and smash that subscribe button so you don't miss out. So again, to everyone, thanks for coming through. I hope you're having a great Tuesday. Hope you're enjoying wherever you're at. And until next time, Nicky Stees saying sign off. Let the draft come Thursday. Best of luck to the Eagles. Make those right moves. Yep, Nicky Stees signing off.